Today we're going to talk about good debt versus bad debt. Many people have the impression that all debt is bad because the Bible says, owe no man anything. But if you have debt, but you have enough assets to pay off that debt, I don't really believe what the Bible teaches is it's really a bad thing. You can use leverage on that debt to actually make you more money. For instance, if you have a Roth IRA or if you have a traditional IRA or maybe even a joint account or an individual account, and you're invested and you're generating average returns of 10% or so, maybe going out buying a car if you got good credit and paying 5% on that automobile, it may not be a bad thing if you're earning 10% on your investments. So Grayson, let's talk about what you think the Bible and what God would classify as good debt versus bad debt.
Well, obviously the best thing is not to owe anybody anything like what it says. So if you could go out and pay $200,000 and just pay off your house right then and there, that might be the best thing you can do. I mean, if we're going to really look into it, it might be good to do what your strategy was and talk about, what's the best way to get arbitrage and on what I'm making versus what I'm paying. But probably the best thing for most people is just to not owe anything at all. But for a lot of people, that's just not very realistic for like owning a home or for even owning a car, because who has $10,000 to go out and pay for a car in cash? Not a whole lot of people. And so that might be one of the things that it's not the end of the world if you go out and you finance. But one of the things that you do have to watch out for is overpaying, for one. There are new car dealerships that are everywhere, all around Statesboro, probably all around your town as well. And one thing that smokes a lot of people, especially young people, is they'll go and they'll buy a brand new car. They'll get in all this debt to pay it off, and they're paying $500, $600, $700 sometimes every month just to make payments on their vehicle. And that's one of those things that's not very good debt, because you're not going forward in your net worth, and you're paying out a lot of money that could be going towards building wealth for yourself in the future.
David, it hadn't been too long since you've graduated college. Did you have any friends that maybe right after they graduated decided they wanted to go buy a new vehicle? And what do you think the Bible teaches about just going out and just spending money like this?
So when I was in college, there was a guy that actually before he graduated, he got a new Mustang. And man, he was so happy about this thing. And this thing strapped him to the table. I mean, he was having to make so many payments on this car. And one of the things that come to my mind is, like in the scriptures, it talks about being more like disciplined, not overspending, not doing things that are basically out of habit, that are sensations of wants, but rather to be more disciplined and not overspending on things that you don't have the money to pay off. Well, interestingly enough, this guy's car a year later got in a wreck and he totaled that car. And so he had put all this money into this car, and lo and behold, just a couple years later, he had completely totaled the car. So it just shows that you have to have a little bit of discipline on what you're doing and not overspend what more than you make.
One of the things that you should always consider when you considering taking on debt is the asset that you're going to be purchasing, like a car. Will it appreciate or depreciate? And a automobile, for the most part, unless you're buying a classic, the day that you drive it off the car lot is going to go down in value. And so it's never ever a good investment to be being strapped with debt with something that's going to depreciate monthly, possibly daily over time. So it really wouldn't be a wise decision. Now, if you could find maybe a classic that you could buy it cheap, possibly turn around and a month or so sell it and make you some profit, that's something different. That may be good debt. But just buying something like an automobile that you would drive and it would depreciate, and you may end up, if you borrowed $10,000 after it's all over, you may have ended up paying $15,000 to $20,000 for a $10,000 car that depreciates, which is not using wisdom. It's always typically better to buy a good low mileage used car than take that hit when you drive it off to off the showroom floor from a new car. Grayson, is any other thing that you know of that is possibly good debt versus bad debt?
I mentioned it a little bit earlier, but buying a house can be good debt because usually they will appreciate in value, especially if you make sure that you get insurance on it. So if you have any sort of total damage done to it, you're not up the creek. But the good thing about it is you get to make payments on it because you got to live somewhere, right? Whether you're renting or paying a mortgage. And as you do that, you're paying down the debt that you owe on it, and the house is appreciating in value, and so you get to build equity. That's something that can be very good debt, and it's something that a lot of people should consider if you have good enough credit to be able to buy a house.
Another thing would be classified as good debt is if you go and borrow, and like some of these lenders will give you an incentive, like sometimes maybe with a new product, they'll let you buy it without any interest. And if you got that amount of money in savings that's earning you a pretty good rate of return, and they're going to let you buy it with zero interest, it's better to keep your money earning, making money for you, than actually putting all your money down from your investments on something that you could get by with zero interest. Grayson, is any other thing that you would like to say to end this up?
One thing that I do believe is important is that a lot of people might not be able to handle that kind of strategy. Whether if they get a credit card that's offering 0%, they might not have the discipline to say, hey, I'm going to make payments on this every month and get it taken care of. So if that's you got to know yourself, and you've got to know your tendencies. And if you have let debt pile up on you before, that might be something you'd want to stay away from. And the best approach sometimes is to keep it as simple as you can. If you feel like that's something that you can use and something that you can benefit from, then by all means go ahead and try it. But if it's something that you see you might not be able to wrap your mind around too much, you might want to stay away from it.
Until next time, may God richly bless you.